Cinesmack contains spoilers of the spoiling type. If you don't want your spoilers spoiled, please turn back now. Otherwise, enjoy the show!
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence?
Ladies and gentlemen! Welcome to the main event! This is Cinesmack! And the winner is...
Hello, Cinesmacketeers, and welcome to bout number 78 of the podcast about films by filmmakers. I am your host, Mike Keeler. Joining me tonight is our panel of award-winning judges. First, filmmaker and owner of Cheshire Moon Films, Mr. Tom Haggis.
I am positive we're going to have a great time tonight.
All right. Second.
Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Second.
More smiling.
Second writer, actor, and director, Mr. Kyle Fine.
In honor of Matthew McConaughey, I want to do this entire podcast with one half of my mouth closed.
Are you okay? Should you see a doctor?
No, I'm good. I'm acting. This is acting.
This is acting. All right. Third, filmmaker and owner of One Genome Short Productions, Mr. Gabriel Rowald.
We are. Come on,
Marshall.
guys, help me out.
Cinesmack.
Cinesmack. Good. Who said Cinesmack? Who said it?
We are Cinesmack.
Cinesmack.
That doesn't make any sense.
Very good. Very good.
Are we not Cinesmack or what?
You're definitely not Marshall.
What the people don't know at home is we have been practicing that for the last hour, and we still fail.
Yeah, right.
All right. Fourth, writer, actor, and producer, Mr. Tosh Dillinger.
All right, let's get this podcast started. Let's quit clowning around.
There it is. There it is.
Oh, right away.
No.
Right up. Matt.
Dropped it right at the beginning.
Yep.
No? Okay.
All right. Let's just poke the bucket and find out what we're doing this month.
Ladies and gentlemen, cheerleaders and quarterbacks, welcome to the main event. Tonight, two true tales of the gridiron take to the field to see who makes the game-winning touchdown and who ends up on injured reserve. In the first quarter from 2006, written by Jamie Linden and Corey Helms, directed by Mick G, starring Matthew McConaughey, Matthew Fox, and Anthony Mackie. We are Marshall! In the second quarter from 2000, written by Gregory Allen Howard, directed by Boaz Yekin, starring Denzel Washington, Will Patton, and Wood Harris. Remember the Titans!
All right. Football movies. Man, this was kind of difficult to figure a good matchup. I hope we figured out a good matchup. You know, when we were discussing about doing these, we kept going through, and we went through I don't know how many films to try and put up against each other, and this is what we came to. So we'll find out. Let's move on to our first round, which is writing.
Okay. Well, obviously, did you say which movies we're actually doing? We Are Marshall and
Yeah, the announcer does that, Gabe.
Oh, the monkey says
intro,
it?
Yeah.
Damn it. Okay.
The monkey's been doing it for 7 years, Gabe.
The intro takes care of it, Gabe. Learn how the show works.
You're killing Tom, Gabe.
It's okay, Gabe. It's okay.
I resist
Everyone
trying
makes
to learn.
mistakes.
Yes.
Everyone
Okay,
makes
start over.
You're
Start
killing
over.
Tom, Gabe.
Start from the very beginning.
Gabe, why don't
What?
you have a seat on the bench?
We can get our chant going.
No.
Why don't you have a seat on the bench, Gabe? Why don't you watch for a while, huh?
All right. So obviously, both of these.
I'm throwing him a
films-
banana right now.
Yes. Yeah. What? Both of these films are based, obviously, on true stories, and so I was compelled while I was watching these to read up on the true stories to get a little bit better idea how accurately they were portrayed, as far as the events and the people and that kind of thing. So I'm going to base my vote in this category largely on that, on how accurately they portrayed the real events as I learned about them. And I have to say that We Are Marshall seemed to be very accurate as far as portraying the actual events of what. It was very true to the story, and very, I thought, very respectful of the subject. Now, obviously all of these types of movies take liberties for, dramatic purposes, and I'm sure We Are Marshall did that, but it seemed like they did that a lot less than Remember the Titans. And there were some significant changes from the actual events and the actual people that occurred in Remember the Titans, and almost solely for dramatic purposes. They changed the timeline of things. They changed characters. They added and removed characters, and just basically kind of changed these people's personalities a little bit to make it more dramatic. And so I felt like for this category, and for me, when you're doing a movie that's based on a true story, accuracy to that story and not taking too many liberties is really important. And therefore, I feel like We Are Marshall was a little bit more true to that story. So I give them a lot more credit for that, as opposed to just trying to. The other thing is they were both pretty melodramatic. I mean, they were very obviously serious topics, but they also treated them very melodramatically. But even so, I felt like We Are Marshall was more respectful to the subject matter and more true to the actual events.
Well, I like that, Gabe. I like that a lot. You did a really good job there, buddy.
Thanks. Put me in, Coach.
So I'm proud of you for doing that research. I didn't do any. I'm just a podcast guest, okay? I'm not here to save your city. I'm just a podcast guest. Okay, I can't do that the rest of the night. I'll lose my fucking mind.
I can't listen to that the whole time.
So that's very interesting, Gabe. I didn't really know that. I don't know much about the two stories behind these. So I'm just going to look at it from a perspective of the movie itself. I thought both of these movies are super melodramatic. And Remember the Titans especially slaps you in the face with some of its messages over and over and over again, kind of putting points on the board when they've already scored. It gets a little annoying at points. Also, they throw in little bits to me that just don't need to be there. But both of these movies are, like a lot of football movies are, based around tragedies that happen to people who play the sport. Someone always gets injured. I mean, even the completely fictional ones, like Varsity Blues, things like that. These movies always have some sort of tragedy or injury and adversity that people have to overcome, and that really mirrors kind of what you experience playing a game of football against the other team, opposition, and overcoming. And so I feel like Remember the Titans writing suffered a little bit by who distributed it. It was a Disney film, and it felt at bits like it was a little bit crafted that way, and they kind of shoehorned and formed it into the type of story that a Disney movie would be. I don't know if that makes any sense. It just was the way it felt, like the way it was put together. I don't know how much of that comes down to the writing. Both of these movies have big sections where the coach has to do monologues. A lot of monologuing in these movies. We can get more to that in acting. But I thought, for the most part, those things were written very inspirationally, and they got the message across they were trying to deliver. I didn't think the writing in these stood out to me as like exceptional or great they felt very sometimes like they were hammering the same point over and over again, and sometimes repetitive or dull in places, a little long. But I mean, that's maybe a more overall movie thing. But neither of them stood out to me as like exceptionally well written. They both were accomplished what they were going for, and I think they serviced the movie pretty well. And I didn't know how faithful they were to the true story. So thanks a lot, Gabe, for bringing that to the table. I'm really proud of you, buddy. You've come a long way since you joined the team.
Thanks, Coach.
Kyle, I don't want your life.
But you're my dad. You have to. You have to have my life.
Sorry, go on, guys.
You're in the wrong movie there, Mike. But
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry. I watched the wrong one.
No, you guys are absolutely right. It's sports movies in general lately. It's like they try to hammer some bigger social issue on your head, and Remember the Titans is probably more guilty than We Are Marshall, but you guys are absolutely right. They're trying to sell tickets, and that's what they did. So is it wrong? No, it works. People want to see these movies, so I can't really badmouth them for that.
Yeah. Sorry. Remember the Titans actually saved September of 2000, apparently, with its box office gross.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. The world almost ended. It was close.
Yeah, like there was a
September
planet
was saved.
careening towards us, and remember the Titans made so much money it blew it off course.
Yeah, it was scary.
Sorry, it's just something that I read in the trivia when I was researching stuff, and apparently it was a really low time in 2000, like September was, and because of remember the Titans apparently brought Hollywood out of it, or made it a positive box office. For
September
that
2000. That's funny because like a year later, I'm sure people are like, "Oh my God, remember last year when we thought we were at a dark time?"
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
True.
Are you saying it was a dark time in like box office returns, or a dark time like historically?
for Hollywood for like box office returns and stuff?
I think it was a dark time for all.
Here,
I remember crying.
In looking back at this, it kind of makes me look back on all the football movies I've seen, and it seems like they always seem football movies compared to baseball movies are way mushier and way more emotional, and baseball films always seem to be more quirky. I mean, I think we did Bull Durham and Major League.
Yes, we did.
Not a lot of schmaltz. There's not usually a lot of schmaltzy stuff in baseball movies, and I don't know, in thinking about it, and it was kind of like my wife and I talked about this quite a bit this afternoon, and I don't know if it's because football is really not, I mean, aside from, when you really get into it, it's not really a heady sport. I mean, you take the ball and you smash into the other guy and you get as far as you can. Whereas baseball is much more numbers, it's much more cerebral. And it seems like football movies try to be what football is not, that it's really emotional and it's very, that there's more heart to it than people probably think on the surface, whereas baseball, a lot of people take as a boring sport. And so the movies try to portray baseball as this fun. That's not me. This fun.
Sorry, that's my home number.
You have a home phone?
I do.
Oh my God, how old are you? 70?
Yes.
And so is the phone. It's my first phone.
The trippy part is it's me calling you.
Oh, the phone call was coming from inside the podcast.
Okay.
All right, I'll stop clowning around. Sorry.
Wow.
Tosh, he took your line and it worked.
Sorry. Go on. Tom.
Was I talking? I don't know.
Well, I was going to bring up
how.
So that's really kind of the difference between the sport movies. It always seems like they try to take the sport, they find its weakness, and then they flip it and make a movie out of it. And I didn't think, I don't know. I didn't think that either of these were like stunning movies. I mean, they're pretty good for a football movie, but I thought that I I don't know. I'll talk about more about when I get to directing, I guess. I'm kind of rambling, so.
All right.
I think you're right. Football is very commonly used as a backbone for drama, for struggle, and especially things that are going on outside of the field. Because I think people view them as, like the fight on the gridiron is synonymous with like our struggle in the outside world. Now
Exactly.
you could say that about a lot of sports maybe, but people love to use football
Right.
in
And
that way.
Football movies are like never about football. I don't know any
Almost,
football movies.
yeah, very little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas baseball movies are usually pretty much about baseball. The other thing is
Yes.
that when you watch a football game, you get a movie's worth of plot and back and forth, and there's enough drama inside a football game to fill a movie, where baseball you don't. I mean, baseball, there was like 10 to 15 minutes of actual action in a 3-hour baseball game. So I think that's another thing too, is that it's really hard. And both of these movies didn't do a great job, I felt like, with the football scenes themselves, but I don't think football lends itself very well to movies. It's as much as they like let's get the camera in there and see what it's like in there on the line. It's just, I'm sorry, but football's a contact sport, and unless somebody's like slamming into me in the movie theater, I'm not going to get the same sense as you would actually, being on the front line like that.
And I think it's well, and we can talk about this later, but it's probably hard to recreate football plays cinematically. It's harder to do that than maybe a baseball play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's so much going on, and how do we recreate this from several different angles and et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, that's we can talk about that later.
Well, I just want to bring up real quick, Tom, you said that baseball movies aren't dramatic. Well, you got Field of Dreams.
Right on.
The Natural.
Yep.
Pride of the Yankees. For Love of the Game.
Preach it, Mike. Just preach it. just putting him in his
Shut
place.
up, Tosh.
42.
Yeah, but for every one of those, you have Bad News Bears and League of Their Own, and those movies are about the sport. I mean, they're not trying to make baseball a metaphor for something else.
Well, and apparently
again,
Brewster's Millions is a baseball movie.
No, it's not.
I would agree.
And
I love that movie.
Sorry.
Yeah, I do
even those
too.
movies. I mean, with the exception of The Natural, Field of Dreams. I mean, those movies still, the baseball's at the heart of it. In these football movies, you could probably swap in any sport.
Okay, no, that's true. I was just looking at them. I'm like, wait a minute. And then apparently Disney loves baseball films as well, because I was looking through this. Let's see, Angels in the Outfield.
Spawned a real life team.
Yeah,
It really did.
Just like Mighty Ducks. Unreal.
$1 Million Arm. I thought
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie
no,
of
that
the
probably
Year
wasn't Disney.
No, I loved Rookie of the
Did you
Year.
say
though.
Funky Butt Lovin'?
And then there's my movie, Mr. Baseball. Oh, The Rookie.
Yes, The Rookie. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so Disney loves baseball films as well. But I totally agree with what you guys were saying. In fact, I have some trivia about Disney and a certain film that is on this show. So should we go ahead and vote? Let's do it. Let's do it. Gabe.
I think we should vote.
All right.
Do it.
It would be good.
Gabe.
Well, because of the historical accuracy and the respect to the subject, I'm going to go with We Are Marshall.
Copy that. Kyle.
Gabe, because you warned me over to your side, I'm going to go ahead and say We Are Marshall. Because we are.
We are.
Marshall.
Tom.
Okay, so we didn't even talk about the movies in that whole category. So I just want to get in real quick and say that, We Are Marshall has got to be like, for me, it was like the most boring movie that I'd seen that started with a plane crash. And that's, it was still interesting, but like in the 15 minutes, I'm like, wow, this is really, really great. And then like nothing really, it didn't really go anywhere, and I don't know. I remember the Titans. My vote's for Remember the Titans.
All right.
Did you think we're gonna watch like Lost or something, or what did you think was gonna happen?
Alive.
Yeah,
thought it was
especially
alive.
since it was based on a true story. I mean, you can make a true story more dramatic by certain choices that you make. But if you want to base it on a true story, you don't necessarily want to take too many liberties with that just to make it dramatic. So I understand what you're saying, Tom, but I also feel like, well, that's that's what happened. So it's kind of hard to say, well, let's make this more interesting because this is what happened.
I totally get that, but I still think, I guarantee you there was a point in the process where a studio exec looked at somebody else and was like, this is a good story, but there's not enough here for a feature length movie. Where it just like, it was a nice short story or something. I just, there's like the recruiting and the figuring out their plays. I mean, like the middle hour of it was just like, get somewhere. Whereas remember the Titans, I like saw characters grow and change, and everybody pretty much kind of was where they were at the beginning of the movie, and the survivors in We Are Marshall.
You're right. Well, yeah.
Guys,
go ahead.
I need Tosh's vote.
Hey, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
They're just clowning around too much. I will go with We Are Marshall. Thank you.
Right.
Mike, I appreciate you trying to include me. Like, two people are hogging this podcast is like normal, and I just appreciate the time. Thank you.
That's
back
a load.
to the interesting stuff, Tom.
That's a load of crap, actually, because the last podcast, I know I was gone for 5 minutes because I ordered a pizza, so I know that I have not been monopolizing the conversation.
All right. Are you and Tom? Are you and Gabe done? Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have more you want to say about writing, please go ahead.
I'm done. I'll talk more during acting. That.
Okay. I want to go through real quick before I hit the trivia. I typed in Disney sports movies. You ready? Remember the Titans, Cool Runnings, The Mighty Ducks, $1 Million Arm, Angels in the Outfield, The Rookie, Miracle, Invincible, The Big Green, McFarlane USA, Glory Road, Greatest Game Ever Played, D3, The Mighty Ducks, D2, The Mighty Ducks, Air Bud.
You read those out in the wrong order, but okay.
This is just the way it's listed. Ice Princess.
Someone should be fired.
Double Team, Secretariat, The Luck of the Irish. I've never heard of that.
Got to be about Notre Dame.
The Love Bug, Racing, The Game Plan, The World's Greatest Athlete, Herbie Fully Loaded, Cars 2, Snow Dogs, Air Bud, World Pup, Queen of Catway, Air Bud, Seventh Inning Stretch. I think that's it.
Do you know that Air Bud was the dog from Full House?
Really?
Yeah, mind blown, huh?
I've learned something today. All right, we're done. Alley Cat's
trivia tonight.
Alley Cat's Strike, and I think we picked the wrong Disney football movie. I think we should have done Gus.
Oh,
and
is that about the donkey or the mule that kicks field goals?
Yes, with Don Knotts.
Don Knotts.
Air Bud.
We'll do the Incredible Mr. Limpet versus Gus or something.
Yes.
Great.
Air Bud Spikes Back. Tiger Town.
Spikes Back.
Yeah.
Oh,
it seriously, it keeps going. Angels in the infield. Angels
What?
in the end zone.
Oh, fuck off.
Angels on the bench.
Ready to run.
Angels in the dugout.
Angels everywhere.
Angels in the bullpen.
Angels in the sin bin.
I'm looking forward to Angels on Injured Reserve. That's
Yeah.
it's some compelling movie making right there.
All right, so
You probably won't enjoy it because it starts with a plane crash.
oh wow.
Angels.
Wow.
Hey man, that's their farm team.
The name of Marshall's winning play against Xavier was 213 bootleg screen. It's really the only thing I could find about the writing. And
That is pretty.
so it's funny.
That means
guys,
your quarterback's rolling out. Your line is letting some penetration get through so you can pass and get a screen. I actually played football. Does anybody else play football?
So that's a common language for that?
Bootleg-
I thought
bootleg
each coach
screen.
kind of had their own language for their
They
plays.
do, yeah. It depends on your offense. For us, the holes were numbered, right? So if you ran a 24 dive, that'd be the 2 back through the 4 hole. A 46,
that's how Amanda
trap.
got pregnant.
Yeah.
I was ready. Well, damn it. Good job. I was prepping the same joke.
Last time I ran a trap, Strychnine and I were in Fat Assassin
Nice.
because they call she-males traps. Do you understand the,
Got it.
Right.
the joke?
Got it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool,
All right.
guys. Cool.
The original script for
I got a look from the bathroom after I said that one. Quit listening to me record a podcast.
the original script for Remember the Titans was full of profanity, but Disney In an effort to produce a good family film, asked Jerry Bruckheimer to remove all extreme profanity from the script.
What the fuck?
Fucking dicks.
Yeah.
Dude, it's weird to
That
have
is
such
total
a serious movie where they drop you in the middle of this racial tension and the language is so clean.
Yeah.
Like it just feels really censored and sterilized. And that's what I mean about that Disney feel. You're like, you're trying to tell me this, but you won't let me see it. Like you want it to be through your Disney lens.
Oh my God, Disney has a wrestling movie too, Going to the Mat.
Who comes up with these fucking names? Some guy got paid for that.
Yes, someone did. All right, let's move on to our second round. It's only the second round, which is
Oh God.
acting.
9:00. We have to go.
This is gonna be fast.
You're killing
I'm
Tom.
the best
Gabe.
actor in either of these movies. So, acting. I actually love about 90% of the actors that are in these movies. I thought they picked really good actors in general. Did they fit their roles? Sometimes. Matthew McConaughey, I think, has grown a lot as an actor in the last, decade, probably. I think we're seeing him still in his failure to launch fool's gold time for me. It just, he was good, but not great. Denzel Washington can read the back of a Pert Plus bottle to me for 10 hours, and I will pay him for it.
Yep.
He
same
is
here.
fascinating. Probably one of my favorite actors of all time. I thought he was amazing. Will Patton was great as Yost. I thought, for the most part, the kids were pretty good. There was a lot of ugly crying in We Are Marshall. I thought Matthew Fox was pretty good. And Ian McShane is probably another one of my favorite actors. Al Swearingen may be one of my favorite characters in the world from Deadwood. And I love Ian McShane. So I really enjoyed the acting in this movie, but they were pretty much allowed to dramatically choose scenery at some points. The monologues got a little crazy, but were very inspiring. I bought them both as football coaches, as people who could inspire and lead a team in different ways. And I mean, save the cheerleader, save the world. Hayden Panettiere was great. So
Can we?
nobody on the Heroes reference? Okay, fine.
Can we?
Yeah, I totally got that.
Okay,
Can we
thanks.
talk
Thanks.
about
It's just
how,
great. Okay.
how Ryan Gosling was a terrible cornerback?
He was so skinny. How did he
He
get
was.
How did he get a spot on that team?
Such a liability. I mean, I would throw at him all day.
They did.
Terrible.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
know
they
they
did. He actually did a little soft shoe, little tap dancing in this, and I thought that's him trying out for La La Land.
Yeah, he was getting ready to start and practicing.
Yeah.
I did like. I know they didn't know it at the time, but I did like that the song he chose was, they're gonna put me in the movies, or they're gonna make a big star out of me, and I was like, you sing it, Ryan.
He's calling it. He's calling a shot.
On a shot. It was awesome.
No, I thought the acting was really, they did what they could, and I mean, I like Denzel Washington too a lot, so I enjoy him anything he's in. So, I would go play. If Denzel Washington was my coach, I'd line up and play hard for him. No guarantee it. So I'm kind of leaning towards that one, but Denzel Washington, big fan.
Yeah, definitely. We talk about this being Cinesmack, but there's a lot of agreement here. I think a lot of the acting throughout both of these films was really top notch. And they took the kind of schmaltzy, melodramatic, monologue type things, and they made them bearable and believable, which I think is a testament to good acting, that you can take that stuff and make it work. I can't think of anybody that I didn't, that I didn't like, that threw me off. I have to say, I'm not 100% with you guys on Denzel Washington. For some reason, personally, I'm not a huge fan, but I thought he was awesome in this. I really liked him in this. Yeah.
What?
No, I'm not. I feel like he's Denzel Washington a lot of the times.
We found the Russian. We found the Russian guys.
Yeah. No, really, I do. That's. I mean, I can't hide it. That's how I feel. I feel like he's just kind of Denzel Washington in so much
Exactly.
stuff.
He's Denzel Washington.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
No.
Your argument's
if
invalid.
he's playing himself in all of these roles. he's
I
not,
really want to
he's
hear
not
this.
a great
I've never
actor.
met anyone. I've never met anyone who doesn't like Denzel Washington. I want to hear this.
You don't think he's
Really
you don't
okay.
think he's a good actor?
I don't think I think a lot of times he just comes across as Denzel Washington. If you watch him in an interview or something, it's like a character that he played in a movie or something. I feel like he's always Denzel Washington, and that not always. There's obviously certain roles where he broke from that, but I've just never been as impressed as everybody else. I don't know what the hypnotic trance that he's put everyone in. I just don't feel the same about it. I'm not saying he's not a good actor, but I don't think he's a great actor. I think he was great in this. I really liked him in this. I was actually not looking forward to it because it was Denzel Washington, because I feel like he's always Denzel Washington. It's kind of the same to me every time when I see him. But I was happily surprised. I thought, oh, I like this. I like him in this. And, maybe I haven't seen enough of his movies to have formed a proper opinion, but my opinion is not the same as everyone else's, that he's like some, infallible, otherworldly type actor.
Man, when you think a guy.
Have you seen Training Day? Have you seen that movie?
I've seen parts of it, yeah.
What?
And I feel like he's kind of like Denzel Washington in that.
Have you seen American Gangster?
That one I have not seen. That's one I've wanted to see, yeah.
What about
I
Fences?
have not seen that one.
He's fantastic in that.
Oh, I'm dying to see Fences.
I kind of
need
wanted to
watch
see
Fences.
the one where he's
so good.
the drunk airline pilot.
Flight?
Flight is good.
Yeah.
He's really good in Flight. He kind of breaks new ground in Flight.
Well, and maybe that's true, but
because he's really vulnerable. He's really
seen
vulnerable in that, and that's the problem with Denzel. Sometimes is he never shows his vulnerability. I mean, I've always felt that that's kind of his weakness, is that he doesn't, he always puts up the wall, and it's really hard to get through it. And Flights, is like, I was like, oh, look at that, he can crumble. So.
Right. So, maybe if I saw some of these films that you're mentioning, maybe I would change my opinion. But I'm not sure Training Day would change my opinion, because that looks like Denzel Washington to me. When the parts that I've seen, I haven't seen the whole movie. I've caught it, it was on HBO or something. I caught parts of it and previews and stuff. I'm like, that's Denzel Washington. It's just him in that film. It's not the character. It's just him, but maybe.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm starting to actually completely understand what you're saying, Gabe. I love Denzel Washington, but I get what you're saying. He does feel very similar in some movies, I think, because he has a very magnetic presence and like a real charisma and like an intensity. So I get what you're saying, like that he kind of shows up and does the same thing in every movie because he's acting the way he acts. Now, he obviously has range and can do a lot of different things, but I get what you're saying. Like the tone of them, a lot of them are very similar, like to what his performance is.
Yeah, it's always kind of this strong, cocky.
Yeah, I can see that in a lot of cases.
And I feel like it's not. I'm not like. I don't know. Just with the films I've seen, I just haven't been as mesmerized. But that being said, I really loved his performance in this. I really did, and I was happily surprised that I was like, oh, I like this, because I can see him being this coach, and he did show a little bit of vulnerability, but not much. But you got little glimpses of it, and that may not have been because of his acting, but because of the way it was written or edited or whatever. But you got little glimpses of it here and there where he was unsure of himself, and am I doing the right thing, or are we, is this gonna work, kind of thing. So. But I was just saying, I just don't have the same opinion of Denzel Washington.
I don't want to do the show anymore.
Wrong, but that's just my opinion.
Can we?
All right, I think that's the end, right?
Yeah, that's
Can we vote
it.
him off the
We've
show?
we've hit a new low.
When we started, we was like, we're going to do this till someone hates Denzel.
Well, I feel like that's. I feel like
kidding.
that's part of the problem, and I know you guys are joking, but I feel like that's part of the problem too, because everybody expects. For some reason, everybody's saying he's this good, so everybody just believes he's this good, and nobody can come out and say, I don't really think so. I don't know.
Wow.
And he may end up being a better director than an actor over time. With with this
true.
new series of films that he's doing with the playwright's work and all that. So, but I don't know. It's just my personal opinion. I've just never really felt overwhelmed with his acting.
Wow.
Hey, if you're out there, send some listener feedback. Recommend some Denzel movies for Gabe to watch.
So
to kind of change his
doesn't
opinion.
come across as Denzel Washington. If you if you watch him in an interview or whatever, it's kind of like that's Denzel Washington, and then you watch him in the movie. Oh, that's Denzel Washington. But find something where it doesn't seem like that, and I'll reevaluate my stance.
Okay, don't watch Unstoppable or The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. Those are those are like classic Denzel. They're fun movies, but it's Denzel Washington in those.
He's got a thing for train-based action adventure.
We got another one. Line it up.
There you go.
All right. Yeah. So have we said everything we want to say about acting or Denzel?
Dear Lord, we haven't done anything.
We haven't talked
about these movies.
No.
I love this episode.
All right. Real quick, I want to run through these actors, and these movies are the reason why whenever you're talking with your friends, you're like, so who would play you in your movie? Who would you want? Hugh Jackman. See,
that's my answer.
They always go really well with the actors most of the time. You always get really good actors to play these true stories. So you got Denzel. The 4 out of the 5 of us agree. Will Patton
would play us in a movie. I mean, he's good, but
Will Patton, who is in two of my favorite films that I like to watch. I have a lot of fun watching them. Gone in 60 Seconds and Armageddon. I kept always looking at Wood Harris, and I'm like, they're spelling Woody Harrelson's name wrong, but it's totally not him. Yeah, I always kept making that mistake.
Can I bring up something about Wood Harris real quick?
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, tell me he doesn't look like Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon.
I can't.
When they show him at the funeral?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought, holy shit.
Yeah,
Murtaugh's
absolutely.
at the funeral.
And he's in 2 comic book movies, Ant-Man and Dread. Let's see. Going down. I like Kip Pardue for some reason. Most of the time when I see him and stuff, I kind of like that guy. He just looks different. I don't know. Hayden Panettiere, of course. Save the cheerleader. Save the world. I really like Kate Bosworth. And of course, there's Ryan freaking Gosling. Do you dislike Ryan Gosling, Gabe?
Well, I have an opinion on that too, but it's not quite as strong as my opinion on Denzel. I feel like Ryan Gosling in a lot of his roles seems almost kind of lifeless. Like there's this deadness behind his eyes that's really almost frightening.
Next month, catch us for Denzel,
but not in everything. But in maybe it's intentional. I didn't feel that in this. But he was just a kid.
So I've never
like in Drive, like.
I was just joking.
Played that character well because I felt like he was kind of scary, and I'm looking forward to him. I'm really looking forward to him in the new Blade Runner. I think he's a great choice for it, especially if he turns out to be a replicant.
Spoiler alert.
I was just kidding. I've never
I hope
really.
Denzel pops up in that movie to ruin it for you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Gabe, can we start a sister podcast where you just give opinions on like nationally acclaimed actors, like give alternate opinions?
Sure.
That'd be awesome.
They may not always be alternate opinions.
Brad Pitt's
but
not all that.
I feel like that's the whole thing. Like, just because everybody else loves them, I don't feel like I don't have to do that. I don't.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay,
right.
real quick, Gabe.
Yeah.
You love Dwayne Johnson, though, right, man?
The Rock?
Yes.
As an actor?
Yeah.
Oh, the way he said that, I think we're in trouble now, guys.
Boy.
Oh, man.
You don't like The Rock?
Good night.
I like
Dallas.
The Rock. Yeah, I don't think he's a great actor.
Oh.
What? Are you kidding?
They're
Give me a break.
just as mad that you said The Rock isn't good as they are about Denzel Washington. I think is hilarious.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
I am
he's
speechless
fun.
right
He's
now.
fun. He's a lot of fun in the roles. I like him, but I don't think he's like some world-class actor.
Okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. All right. I totally baited you. It's fine. Go ahead.
Matthew
No,
McConaughey.
Vin Diesel.
I've never really liked Matthew McConaughey. I really liked him in
talking
Tropic
about?
Thunder.
Let's all yell at Mike.
Yeah.
True Detective is amazing.
I'm
What's
trying to
wrong with
deflect.
Well, he's the same. Like that's a standout role for him, and I think that a turning point. And when was Dallas Buyers Club? Was that just before?
Same time.
Was it?
Yeah,
about
they were
the
really
same time?
close.
That was
Yeah, really
13.
close.
Yeah, I think that was a turning point for him. Because I think he's been pretty good.
Tropic Thunder?
Tropic Thunder was fantastic. That's where I liked him. I was like,
that was 5 years before Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah.
But
anyway, Matthew Fox, Anthony Mackie, David Strathairn, who is in one of my favorite movies that not a lot of people know about, which is called Sneakers.
Sneakers good.
Ian
Sneakers.
McShane. I'm in love with Kate Mara. January Jones. And I think I'm done there. Yeah. So there's a reason why, whenever they do a biopic or they do a true story about an event or something like that, they always get a good cast. You wouldn't want well, apparently you don't want Denzel Washington in a lead role. You would want. I'm sorry, Gabe. I'll stop.
That's
Stop
all
giving
right.
you credit.
Yeah, you don't. I realize my opinion is unpopular,
but
I'm not going to change it just to be popular.
You're popular in my heart, Gabe.
Dang.
Maybe if you did, we have better numbers in this podcast.
Maybe because I didn't, we will have even better numbers.
Oh, there you go.
I doubt that.
I'm so confused.
All right. Is there anything you guys want to talk about the acting? Any more of the acting in either one of these movies?
Real quick,
Nothing else needs to be said.
one quick thing. Of all the outside the A-list actors that were in these, I thought Ryan Hurst, the guy that plays Gary on Remember the Titans, was actually pretty good. As far as an actor that didn't have a whole lot of big movies coming out, like an unknown name that when this movie came out, I thought he did a really great job.
Oh yeah.
And he's on Sons of the Anarchy. He's unrecognizable in the stuff he does now.
We Were Soldiers, Saving Private Ryan. He was in both those films.
Yeah, he's in Outsiders now, and it's he is. I thought he was really, really good in this. So hope to see more cool stuff from him.
He took on a new life as a big grizzled man bear after Sons of Anarchy. That's what he plays now. Is like these big, bearded badasses. Pretty funny.
Oh crap! I forgot to talk about Donald Faison from Scrubs.
Yeah,
he was good.
Oh,
yeah,
he was
funny.
But it was a little bit weird. I mean, when you know,
let me guess, you don't like him either,
weird to see
Dave.
him there, kind of like, I expect him to be kind of goofy,
Right.
And he was funny, but not necessarily as goofy as he was on Scrubs.
All
Would
right.
you like the movie more if?
What?
To be continued.
If Denzel played that part,
Kyle. I bet he hit the mute button again.
Would you like the more?
Hold on.
Would you like the
I'm
movie
coming.
more
I'm coming.
if?
Oh, okay. Hey. Ooh, sorry.
You cut out on the word if.
I know. My controller cuts out after a while if I don't move it. Okay. I was going to say, do you think the movie would be better if Zach Braff played Ryan Gosling's role? Would that have given you a better feel?
God.
And I just want to
He's
point
kind
out,
of neurotically dancing. I'm going to keep interrupting, Mike. We're never going to move on.
I just want to point out that there is an actor named Bo Keister in Remember the Titans. Now my favorite actor, Bo Keister. All right.
And his cousin, Tom Prison Wallet.
Let's go ahead and put it to a vote. Kyle.
Remember the Titans. Denzel Washington, national treasure. You're wrong, Gabe.
Tom.
I'd say Ryan Hurst kind of pushed it over the line. So sorry. Remember the Titans. What was that?
Someone's doing laundry or something. Tosh.
I do remember the Titans, and when The Rock and Denzel Washington team up for a movie, it's the most amazing movie of all time.
That's right.
Right.
And
Can't wait.
Let's
It'd
see.
be the most amazing movie of all time that I've never seen.
Gabe.
Oh.
You don't like nice things.
I'm going to go with Remember the Titans as well, and because in part of Denzel Washington.
Oh. All right. Trying to make up to us, I see.
No, that was my vote. That was my vote from the beginning because I told you I liked him in that.
I know.
And then they have a great cast of young actors that rounded out. I thought the acting was superior throughout.
All right. As part of Boaz Yakin's efforts at authenticity, two of the referees in the film, E.Y. Coley and B. Keith Harmon, they've got to be from the South, who played the crooked referee, are real life officials with the Atlanta Area Football Officials Association. And Ian McShane claimed that he got into character by drawing on his memories of the fatal plane crash of the Manchester United soccer team, having known some of the players. So there we go. Let's move on to third round. Third round, here we go, which is directing.
So let's talk about McG. So I didn't like Charlie's Angels because it wasn't really marketed to me. It wasn't supposed to be a movie I was supposed to like in the first place. Unpopular opinion, and I will go ahead and admit this. I liked Terminator 3. I thought, Terminator 4, sorry, the fourth one with Christian Bale. I thought it was pretty good. I thought they did a good job of continuing the storyline that was starting to run out of options. Now that we blew past 92. Was it 92 that they talked about, or 97? Nobody know? Judgment Day?
It was 92, wasn't it?
So I liked Terminator 4 Salvation because I thought that the action scenes, unlike some movies that I had seen before that, like I knew what was going on in the action scenes, and it was like oh my gosh, it's like action movies for people that are a little bit slow like me. And then seeing McG do the football scenes in We Are Marshall, I thought they were pretty good, but I think it just, like I said before, I think it's just suffers because of their football scenes, and football scenes are tough to sell in the movie because it's such a visceral and physical game that it's really, really hard to get that across on the screen. In terms of directing, I mean, I'm kind of on the fence. So I guess I'm could be swayed either way on this, because the football scenes themselves I thought were about the same. I felt like Boaz Yakin, am I saying that right?
I believe so.
Why did you give me directing? You knew I was going to have to say his name. So anyway, I thought he did more with less with Remember the Titans. I thought that he had a more compelling story to kind of push through, and McG's work on Marshall, like I said before, I just felt like there wasn't enough there for a full movie, and try as he might. I will say that, like, lighting wise, I thought We Are Marshall was a beautiful film because I don't know who their DP was, but there were some just absolutely stunning shots, almost to the point where I was like, no coach's office is that beautiful. Like the sun never comes through at that angle. They give that office to the athletic director, but he was dead, so that makes sense.
Wow.
Wow.
I laughed at it, Tom. I'm with you.
Thanks. It wasn't that bad. Anyway, so between the two, I don't know. What did you guys think in terms of, like the traditional filmmaking directing role these two guys had?
Yeah, well, I have to say, and Mike, this may be some of your trivia, so I'll try not to spoil it. But I have to say, when I saw that, I wasn't really familiar with McG. Although I'm familiar with some of his films, I wasn't really familiar with him. And I wanted to hate him simply because he listed himself as McG in the credits. Because I thought it was really kind of like
douchey.
I don't know. Yeah, douchey, cocky kind of thing for some reason.
Terrible place to put it where he did.
Were you talking about McR?
Right, exactly.
He gives himself his director's credit right after the emotional end to the movie and before they start telling about the real people. I thought that was really douchey.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird spot, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I'm not sure it's like an unusual spot for the director's name to go. But then I read about why he's called McG and the misery he suffered because of it, and I felt a little sympathetic for him. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. There's a reason. It's not just because he's cocky and some kind of douchebag. There's a reason. And I didn't know if you were going to touch on that in your
please enlighten
trivia.
us.
Yeah, basically, like his full name is Joe. Let me see if I can find it. I don't have it up right now, but it's like Joe McGinty or something like that. Yeah, Joseph McGinty, and he there were other Joe McGinty's in his family, and so his nickname for his whole life, since he was a little kid, was McG, and so he just kept it that way, as that's just how he's been called for his whole life, basically. And he's gotten a lot of grief for the very same reason that we were talking about. It's just like for some reason, without knowing what it's about, it comes off as kind of cocky or douchey in some way or another. So yeah,
it is though, isn't it? I mean, even maybe my mom called me names was growing up, but I wouldn't slap that on a movie and say that this was directed by
Tommy.
I'm like.
Tommy,
Thanks,
I'm worried
little
about
Tommy.
You asshole! I told you not to tell anybody.
Tommy, I'm worried about you. You have a headache tonight. Are you okay?
I'm good. He's not Cher or Madonna. I don't. It comes across. It does come across.
Yeah, but they aren't Cher and Madonna either. If you think about it, I mean, that's not their full name either. It's a nickname, and they had to start doing that at some point, right?
Yeah,
and it's also douchey.
It seems like a weird choice to me.
It's a good point.
It's called by one name.
Well, he got his kind of fame and notoriety directing music videos, right? That's how it started.
That's
And
correct.
that makes sense. It makes sense there, doesn't it?
It does.
Yes.
So, so I think in that world it makes sense. And then once you've made your name, you're McG and you're famous, you have a following or some, cachet in the world. And then you want to start over by calling yourself Joseph McGinty and directing, and people are going to go, who? They don't know who you are. So I think, kind of, make sure you pick your name right at the beginning of your career that you want forever, kids, in case you do get more famous. When I saw McG's name come up, I thought, oh, God, I kind of groaned. But I was pleasantly surprised by how the movie We Are Marshall was done. I don't think I've seen another Boaz Yaskin film. I'm not sure. But I thought he did a very very serviceable job with Remember the Titans. It was carried a lot. I think with actors that good and a big budget and things like that, you just hope you don't screw it up too much or get in the way of those things. But I thought a lot of it was really well put together and well crafted. I think both movies were too long. We Are Marshall is 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think they suffer from that. They feel a little slow. I think there were maybe only 7 or 8 actual scenes of football. I was keeping like tally marks every time there was actual football. And so in a movie that's based on football, to have that little and that's not uncommon. It's in a lot of sports movies. But to have that little amount of it kind of hurt my immersion in it sometimes. We Remember the Titans. God, I kept screwing up the names of these movies. I think it was much more about like the actual playing of the games than We Are Marshall. They knew they were going to lose. They knew they were going to suck in We Are Marshall. So I think they kind of shied away from that. But I really wanted to point out McG's handling of the plane crash scene where they come upon the fire in the woods. I thought that was really well done. I was very I was worried on how they were going to handle that. And I still think it's crazy to let people that close to the fire, but I'm not the cops, the firefighters. But I thought that scene where like that you see the wreckage all laid out and you see that destruction in the fire, I thought that was really well done. And you can see some of his flashiness with the way you would direct a movie. There's a lot of, especially with the football action, sometimes quick cuts and smashed together real slick and put to like a beat or a song. And you felt like he was really confident doing that. That's how I felt. Like those scenes seemed much more confident than some of the other things.
Right. And I felt like there was a lot of camera movement, especially in those scenes. And sometimes I felt like it was a little much. They would do these kind of like, I don't know, crane or dolly type shots along the coaches and that kind of thing. And the camera was constantly moving. And I felt like it was a little bit too much there. But the actual game footage and that kind of stuff, I felt like it was appropriate and was well put together.
Well, maybe he's used to moving the camera for 4 minutes, and now he's got to do it for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and he just can't stop himself sometimes,
Right. Well, and I did feel like you said, I felt like the plane crash topic was handled very tastefully, because it's like, how are they going to show this? Are they going to, like, is it going to be like, what was it called? Flight 93, or what was the one about the 9/11 plane crash?
Was it United
93? United 93.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. Where they show a lot of that moment, which I think it was appropriate and meaningful for that film. But what are we gonna see here? And I thought it was handled quite tastefully. We got an idea of the tragedy and the scope of it without being too graphic or distasteful with it.
Did you guys like the way they let it out into the world that this crash had happened through like radios? This stuff was getting on the radio to these people because no one has any phones or anything like that. I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, and I don't know, one of the things that I didn't, that wasn't really covered was whether or not the townspeople were actually there at the crash site. I don't know how accurate that part was, if they actually got to go there and see that. So that may have been a little bit of a embellishment for dramatic purposes, to have the townspeople actually show up at the crash scene. But maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how that went down. Because you do think, like, how would they get there so quickly?
Yeah.
In that time, when you don't have cell phones and texts and Twitter and all that to, notify people of something happening instantaneously.
And I think a lot of that's the proximity of the crash to campus too. So, although I don't know, it didn't seem like when they were in the air, it was like they were just taking off, and then the plane crashed like right outside town.
It crashed.
You didn't get to see much of what happens on the plane.
Right.
You just kind of see it towards the end.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't remember how long of a flight it was supposed to be either.
Yeah, that's true. If it's just from East Carolina to campus, it wouldn't be that long. So.
Yeah, and so it was the kind of thing where they almost didn't even have a chartered flight. That's part of the tragedy too, is that was the only scheduled flight of the whole season.
Oh.
Yeah, the rest of the schools were close enough that they just automatically went by bus. So yeah, it was, and they almost didn't have that flight as well.
Mm.
And it is true that the one guy gave up, Matthew Fox's character, Red. Yeah. That is true that they swapped spots on the plane. Yeah, it's pretty. That part of it I thought was handled really well.
Heather watched it with me, and when he gave up his seat, she doesn't know the story. She goes, "Oh, I got a bad feeling."
Yeah.
I go, "Yeah, that's usually not a good sign in a movie when one of your main actors doesn't get on a plane. It just doesn't. Right. It doesn't speak well for the plane."
Yeah.
When's Matthew Fox and Tom Cruise going to do a movie together and be brothers in a movie? Is that just me?
Do you think he looks like Tom Cruise?
I could see that.
I can see it. Oh, I can see that too.
I bet Tom Cruise is 10 years older, but Matthew Fox would play his older brother.
Well, that's probably a height thing, yeah. And then Tom Cruise would never allow that, so the movie won't.
Right.
And
Gabe hates Tom Cruise too, so that's just.
Well,
he'll go on a rant, and then.
But for a long time, he was in the same situation where he was just Tom Cruise in movies. But again, I think he's made a turning point, and he's gotten a lot better. I actually enjoy Tom Cruise.
Tropic Thunder
in movies. Yeah, maybe that was a seminal movie for these actors.
Tropic Thunder is like the cornerstone of the world.
It is.
It's the turning point in a lot of actors' careers.
Yes. Tom, real quick, you and I were wrong. Judgment Day is August 29th, 1997.
97. Okay. Yeah. Because the movie was 92 and then the Judgment Day was 5%.
Correct. So. I want to go through these gentlemen's filmographies real quick. Boaz Yakin, not a lot that I've ever heard of. I have to be honest. Fresh, A Price Above Rubies, Remember the Titans, Uptown Girls, Death and Love, Safe, Wake the Fuck Up, Max, and Boarding School. But his writing credit is I imagine you guys have probably heard of a few of these films. The Punisher, the '89 Punisher with
Dolph Lundgren?
Yeah.
Nice.
The Rookie, Fresh, A Price Above Rubies, From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Dirty Dancing, Havana Nights, Death and Love, Prince of Persia, Safe, Now You See Me, Max, Now You See Me 2, Max 2, White House Hero, and in post-production there's a movie called Boarding School. McG, I enjoy watching Charlie's Angels, both those films. Like, I just have fun with it. It does kind of bother me. There's certain things that do bother me. But his first credit on here is Smash Mouth. Why Can't We Be Friends? Then it goes to Korn, Who Then Now, then Sublime, Bare Naked Ladies, 1 Week, Fastball, The Way, The Offspring, Pretty Fly for a White Guy, The Offspring, Why Don't You Get a Job? Charlie's Angels, Cypress Hill, Still Smoking, Fast Lane, Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, Dan Finnerty and the Dan Band, I Am Woman, The Offspring, Complete Music Video Collection. Why do they have that? We Are Marshall. And then he did an episode of Chuck, Terminator Salvation, This Means War, which I really like. I thought this was it, with Reese Witherspoon, Chris Pine, and Tom Hardy, where they're both secret agents and they're both in love with.
Oh yeah,
I think that's a really funny movie.
That's a fun movie. Yep.
And let's see, West Side, Guilty, 3 Days to Kill, which was actually pretty entertaining. If I remember right, that's Kevin Costner. Yeah. Sorry guys, I'm fighting this cold. The Mysteries of Laura, Kevin from Work, Shadowrunners, Lethal Weapon, the TV series. And then there's 2 post-productions here, or post-production, pre-production, The Babysitter and Behind Enemy Lines TV movie, which I have no idea what that one's about. But yeah, there you go. That's McG. And Boaz Yakin. I think I'm saying his name right. And I don't know if you guys have seen Now You See Me, but I kind of like how they do some of the stuff in there.
Yeah, until it becomes a magical, mystical bunch of horse shit.
Yes.
God, I hate those movies.
There's a real big leap of faith on a couple things. It's like, I'm not buying that. That'd take a lot of money. But anyway, let's go ahead and put it to a vote. Tom.
Directing, I didn't talk about it, but McGee's directing and We Are Marshall sucks. So I'm going to go with Remember the Titans. Sorry, I didn't
copy that.
Lots of zooming and cuts. I didn't like it.
To what? Zoomy?
Yeah, it was a lot of zoomies and just the quick cuts, and it's like the camera was in the wrong spot sometimes. And they're like, "Oh, that looks cool with it whipping around like that. Let's use that."
All right, Tosh.
I'm gonna go with Remember the Titans as well.
Copy that, Gabe.
I'm going to side with McG on this one because I felt like he approached the material with respect, and I just thought he did a good job with it.
All right, Kyle.
You know, Gabe, I really appreciate you telling me all about this We Are Marshall movie.
Here we go again.
I want to go ahead and side with you, buddy. I'm going to join your team, the herd, the young herd. Okay,
you're killing your father, Larry.
Gonna go for We Are Marshall. We're Marshall.
All right,
because I like Gary Marshall and Penny Marshall.
That's a good.
They are
reason.
Marshalls.
I like it.
And marshmallows.
You sounded kind of like Forrest Gump there for a little bit, like you were Lieutenant Diane.
Pretty sure that's racist.
No, I don't think so. The boardroom scene with the "We Are Marshall" chant was filmed on 2 separate days. The boardroom scene was shot on one day, and the chant was shot on a second day. After Boaz Yakin was hired to direct the movie, producer Jerry Bruckheimer learned that Yakin did not know anything about American football. I mean, just look at his name. He then arranged for Yakin to attend a football camp, and Boaz picked up enough information in 2 weeks to resume full speed work afterward.
Interesting.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
it's interesting
with a name
to do
like
that with
Boaz,
actors.
you know, you're like, hey, do you know football? Oh, yes. You know, real football, not American football.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting to do that with actors. You know how they did with, say, something like Saving Private Ryan, where they actually sent them to like a boot camp,
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of thing, where they're actually doing real military training and drills and that kind of thing. But I don't know that I've ever heard of that being done with a director. Like sending them to.
I don't think I've heard of that either.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I see value in it because then you have the director has a more intimate knowledge of the subject matter. But
Right.
yeah, I just know it's usually actors that do that.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to our fourth and final round. Overall.
You know the player named Gary, how you say his name? Barriator? Is that how his last name is?
Gary Barriator.
The one who gets paralyzed and
Yeah.
Bernier? Burn.
It's Birder maybe?
Bertier.
Birdier.
Bernier?
Anyway, have you seen his real high school stats?
No.
I guess he was a monster.
So in his senior year, he had 142 tackles with 42 sacks.
Holy crap.
Jesus.
42 sacks in a season. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. And then he, I don't know if Gabe, you kind of touched on this. He didn't really get in a car accident until after the season was over.
Right. Yeah,
And then he went to the Paralympics, like they said in the movie, and was good. And then he got killed by
another car accident.
Another car accident, drunk driver.
Mhm.
Jesus.
Yeah, at 27.
At 27.
Terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
And interestingly, when he did the Paralympics thing too, the other coach, played by Will Patton, it actually was his coach in real life not Will Patton, but that coach was his coach for the Paralympics stuff, and he won gold medals in that. Yeah, it's pretty interesting story.
The sacks was and tackles. I mean, that's just amazing. 42 sacks.
42 sacks is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That means he's living in the backfield. That's just
right.
Crazy.
Well, and then you also have to think, when we see We Are Marshall, it's the team itself that's downtrodden and young and not very good, because they're rebuilding this team with young players and freshmen, all that kind of thing. But Remember the Titans, I don't know if they ever give off that impression, but this team was stacked because in real life they had a huge pool of talent to choose from, because when they brought these three schools together that they talk about, it comprised a large section of this district or whatever, and they literally had like thousands of students to choose from. So this team was stacked, and they literally went undefeated the whole season, and I think they shut out their opponents in 9 of the games.
Yeah, they outscored their opponents 357 to 45 on the season.
Oof.
Yeah, so they were certainly not downtrodden from a talent standpoint, like we saw in We Are Marshall. And I don't know that they really kind of gloss over that in Remember the Titans, because it's not really about that.
Right.
But we're made to feel like they're overcoming something in order to become a good football team. Like if they don't overcome some of this stuff, they're not going to be any good. And I felt like that was a little bit of a misrepresentation of it. Like if we don't come together and learn to play together and live together, it may hurt our team a little bit. But we're so stacked with talent, like we can't lose. And so I felt like that was a little bit misrepresented, and one of the reasons why I felt like the writing was more manipulative in Remember the Titans than it was in We Are Marshall.
They're trying to, tug at your heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. They were emotionally manipulative, but I can't say I hated it. Some movies where it's like, oh, that's just not fair. I mean, I think Forrest Gump, but we've talked about it before. We mentioned it recently. It falls into that category. It's so melodramatic and manipulative, but I really love it.
let me throw this out to the group. From the little football that was shown, which one do you think was more accurate? Because this is a football podcast, if you will, because the football season started. Which one did you feel that was better football wise looking?
So my answer is going to come from my real life experience. I played for an 0-9 varsity team. So We Are Marshall looked a lot more like we did, where they fucking sucked. And we're terrible all the time. So that looked a lot more. But the difference is in our season, we never came together to win a game.
You need to get in a car accident.
So we needed a personal tragedy,
Right.
something like that
really
to
brings
spur
it
us on to greatness.
Yeah,
but we
but
were
then
all
it's-
just a bunch of fuck off high school kids, and so we sucked.
Yeah, but then it's not about the football if that happens. If it becomes about the broken leg or the dead
That's true.
guy.
It's true.
Yeah, as far as the representation of football, it is interesting how little football is actually portrayed in either of these films. And one of the things that I felt was a little bit of a letdown with We Are Marshall, and I realize it isn't necessarily about the football, but they really only show them go through 2 games. They show them go through the first one that they lose, and then they go through the second one, which is the first of, I think, just 2 that they won that season. And, and I felt like, we're only getting to see really a small fraction of the season. It would be interesting to see, even through losing, how this team comes together, and we don't get to see any of that. So I felt like a little bit cheated. As far as the football game stuff in We Are Marshall, like they cut it short. I understand why they cut it there, because they're cutting it on a high note. It's like, oh, they won. This team came together and they won a game that no one thought they could win, and yay, Marshall, kind of thing. But I felt like we were a little cheated on the football part of it.
The other thing too, look, I'm going to do this. I don't want to undersell what Marshall University did. It was a really incredible story. But how many times have you been watching a sporting event and the definitely better team underestimate their opponent, and the opponent comes up and bites them in the ass? And I really feel that's what happened to Xavier. I really felt they were like, these guys all suck, and they saw what happened the week before, and I really felt like Xavier beat themselves in that game. And I'm sorry, so I'm probably gonna get hate mail for that. But
yeah,
No,
that
but-
could
I
be.
mean,
Yeah, I
as
think
a
you're-
football fan, I've seen it tons of times.
Yeah.
Tom, you're
happens.
not going to get as much as Gabe is going to get.
No,
that's true.
That's true. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, come on, Marshall fan club. Don't let me down.
Well, I think it's a common problem with sports movies is very little screen time is given to the actual sport. You see it especially in football movies. Baseball movies, like you think of like Major League, okay, maybe not the greatest example, but tons of baseball in Major League. A lot of the comedy is based around it, right? And I think it's a lot easier for a comedy. For a drama, you have to show what's going on outside the world that's creating all the pressure and the turmoil. And so, one of my favorite football movies is The Program, which is a terrible movie, really. But there is so little football in it. I rewatched it a couple years ago, and I couldn't believe it. But that's really common, that sports movies don't have a lot of sports in them, especially if they're dramas. I think both these movies suffered a little bit from the obvious lack of their sport in them. Remember the Titans, not so much, because that's about a season where you're seeing every game they're going to state and they're going to be great. We Are Marshall is more about just building this team, getting something on the field, and the struggle of that to like rebuild in the ashes of this tragedy. I thought both movies showed, the parallels of struggle, of playing a sport and the other things we have to face in real life. Both of them very tragic situations for different reasons. But I kind of wasn't blown away by either movie as like great dramas or great sports films. They were just, good. They weren't amazing. They weren't like transcendent or anything like that.
Yep.
Now, Blue Chips, that's a transcendent movie. That has Shaq in it,
You
and
had
Nick
him.
Nolte, and Anthony Hardaway, and a guy who is obviously supposed to be Larry Bird, but Larry Bird's old, so they can't use Larry Bird.
So he
It's
has a
literally-
later in the movie.
Yeah, it's literally a white guy who shoots 3-pointers, and it's from French Lick, Indiana, which is Larry Bird.
Which Larry Bird's from. Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right. Is there anything you guys want to add in overall to either of these films? I'll take that as a no. So let's put it to a vote. Tosh, you start us off.
I did. I'll go Remember of the Titans.
All right. Gabe.
I actually really enjoyed both of these films. I like Kyle. I did think they were a little bit long, but I did enjoy them both. And I would probably, we talk about rewatchability often. I would probably rewatch either or both of these in the future. I enjoyed them. So this is a hard choice for me. I think I'm going to go with We Are Marshall.
All right. Kyle.
Much like the plucky Marshall, I went into this thinking that Remember the Titans was great, and I underestimated the We Are Marshall young herd, and they came up and they bit me in the ass. So I'm gonna go with We Are Marshall.
All right. And Tom.
Titans.
Titans.
Go on, the Titans.
All right. While I attempt to do this difficult math, I'm going to pull out my abacus. Let's go ahead and move on to our recommendations for this month, and I'll go first. I'll get it out of the way. I am going to recommend, we actually discussed this film, what we were going to put it up against, and my defense was for one of the actors in the film. So mine is from 1991, Necessary Roughness. For some reason, I love this movie.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I love Necessary Roughness. It's got Scott Bakula, Hector Elizondo, Robert Loggia, and Larry Miller, and Sinbad, and Rob Schneider, and Jason Bateman, and it's fantastic. But the entire reason that I watched this movie in the first place was to see my crush from back in high school, Kathy Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which Tom and I were actually discussing that we both had standees of Kathy Ireland. Is someone moving furniture?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in my house.
What is going on? But anyway, we both had standees of Kathy Ireland. Mine was unaltered, as much as I like to joke about it. But yeah, I love Kathy Ireland. So we will go back to the top, and we will start with you, Gabe.
Okay, well, mine isn't quite as uplifting or fun, but I think it's a great sports-based movie. I'm going to recommend $1 Million Baby. I think it's a really strong, well-acted, beautifully shot piece. It takes a bit of a twist at the end. I don't want to give it away. And it like these other sports films that we were talking about, it veers away from the sport to a certain degree, and the sport just becomes metaphor for the struggles we face in life. But I really thought it was a powerful piece and very, very well done. So if you've never seen it, definitely check out $1 Million Baby.
All right. Thanks, Gabe. You're bringing the downer tonight.
Yeah, that one's a bit of a downer. I get it.
Jeez, Christ.
But it's a great movie. So
That's true. Kyle.
All right, so I'm going to spoil the ending of $1 Million Baby. She gets pregnant, wins $1 million, and that's why it's called $1 Million Baby.
that's it.
Anyways,
Wow.
so I'm going to recommend a sports movie, probably the polar opposite of $1 Million Baby, Slapshot.
Yes.
I've never
Awesome.
seen Slapshot. There are not a lot of hockey movies that aren't kid-based or Disney-made. All right, so Slapshot is kind of a rougher, I think of it like a major league for amateur, like not amateur, but lower level professional hockey. And if you watch it, you'll get a lot of the jokes that some hockey fans make, and it is an entertaining as hell movie still to this day.
Didn't I let you borrow that? Did
I think you did. Yes.
And I tell you what, still to this day, after I don't know how many times I've watched that movie, I still double over in laughter when the puck hits the organist.
Yeah,
Oh my God, that
Classic.
just
really good.
it just hits me in the right spot, and I love it. Good recommendation, Tom.
I'm swearing off football movies. I'm kind of done with them, like we talked about. So I'm gonna recommend the 1990 comedy Quick Change with Bill Murray and Randy Quaid and Gina Davis.
Oh my God,
Because
really?
It is absolutely hysterical. It is as funny as I remember it when I watched it when I was 14 years old. My brothers and I still get into texting each other back and forth, and we can run through about half the movie, just reciting lines from it. So, and it's also got Phil Hartman and Tony Shalhoub in little bit parts, and they do a great job. And it is comedy gold at Bill Murray at his finest, and it's got a clown in it. And I know a lot of people are talking about clowns, so if you don't want to go see it, check out Quick Change. It's a much friendlier clown. He just robs banks. He doesn't kill small children.
I remember seeing that movie in the theater.
So good. So good.
Tosh.
So with the Cleveland Indians winning their 21st game, I'm going to recommend Moneyball. From 2011, starring Brad Pitt. It's chronicles the 2002 season of the Oakland A's and how he puts together with another guy a formula to do a cheap baseball team, but with stats be a successful baseball team. So check it out, Moneyball.
I love me some Moneyball. Anytime that movie's on, I have to sit and watch it. Everything else can wait. And we actually did that. When did we do that? We did that a while back, too, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to look here while I'm quick. Someone, give some hold music or something.
What?
I think we did Moneyball.
Oh, can we talk about the soundtracks of these movies? Remember, the Titans had a killer soundtrack,
Yes.
as did most movies that portray that era. You have a really good soundtrack.
It's very true. And when you have Disney money,
yeah, you can get great songs. Yeah.
I thought we did. Did we?
Yeah, we did.
I know we did.
Did you do Moneyball versus Rollerball? Because that would have been weird.
There's Hoosiers versus Glory Road. Which Glory Road? Guess what? Another Disney movie. God, this is horrible. I know we did it.
Yeah, I feel like we did too.
I know we did it because
Maybe
talked
it's
about
the
how
lost
much
episode.
It could be. It's gonna drive me because there's Major League versus Bull Durham. Oh man, maybe we didn't. Oh, maybe it's like that Sinbad movie that everyone remembers seeing and it was never made, where he was a genie.
You talking about Kazam?
Is that
that's Shaq?
Yeah,
that's Shaq as a genie.
Yeah,
I get Shaq and Sinbad mixed up a lot.
But there's this thing in that a lot of people believe that they watched a Sinbad movie where he played a genie. And there is no movie it does not exist.
You're talking something like a Mandela effect?
Yes.
Oh.
So maybe, you know what, I'm going to have to look at it because I know we did it.
No, I just Googled Cinesmack and Moneyball.
Yeah.
And I the one thing that comes up is a comment I made 6 years ago on a website. So, because I saw it, I'm like, oh, there it is. I'm like, oh wait, that was me.
Let's see. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going through as quick as I can. All right.
I don't even know what we'd put it up against.
I don't know either. God.
What other statistical based sports movie?
Well, and I just on top of it, I just realized I forgot to do my overall trivia. So, let's see. Remember the Titans is made more accessible to non-fans of football by careful music editing. This is what reminded me because Kyle wanted to talk about it. Whenever the Titans complete a key play or turn the game in their favor, the music changes to upbeat rock. So it kind of helps non-football fans out. The crowds in We Are Marshall and the large stadium scenes consist of hundreds of local extras, thousands of blow-up dummies, and thousands of CG extras.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Blow up dummies would be so much cheaper.
Right? Oh, it's crazy. Brett Rice, Lloyd Boone, played in Remember the Titans, where the main character's name is Coach Boone, played by Denzel Washington, a movie also about football. I started laughing when I saw that trivia, so I needed to grab it. All right. I'm going to keep going through this episode list because I know we've talked about Moneyball.
Oh, my God.
I know we have. So let's go ahead and move on to finding out who won. So I'm going to poke the monkey. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Your winner by decision is Remember the Titans!
Denzel.
Hey, that's a logical football score, too.
That is a logical football score.
It is. It was a close game. Close game.
Hard-fought defensive struggle.
The kickers really did it for us this time.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
That Titan defense, man, just hard to score against.
Oh shit! 42 sacks. Crazy.
It's amazing.
Oh my God, we have not done Moneyball.
It's time.
Oh my goodness.
Put it up against that Sinbad movie where he plays a genie.
Exactly. Because I'm telling you,
What's
man.
that called? What's that called again? I know I've seen it.
Let's see.
Guys, stop clowning around.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, he's got a catchphrase now.
There it is.
Finally, that was a good one, Tosh.
Well, that's our first T-shirt for the podcast.
Really?
Stop clowning
That's the
around.
Uh,
Well, nothing's gotten traction like this. Come on, it's been used 7 times in this episode.
Dirty Hanger was pretty good.
Yeah.
Dirty Hanger was pretty good. All right, let's move on to the last section, which is where people can maybe hunt you down if you don't like Denzel.
so that means you want me to go first.
Yes.
You can find me on Facebook, and you can check out our films on onegenomeShort.com. You can't submit comments there, so that's just that'd be a waste of time. But you can do a denial of service attack on my website if you want to. I realize my opinion is unpopular, but that's the way it is.
Also, while we go into that, I want to congratulate you and Tosh on your awards from the 48-Hour Film Project. Why don't you tell everyone what you won?
Well, Mike, we want a brand new car.
They're giving out cars now?
Yeah, the prices have gotten significantly better.
Wow.
Yeah. No, we actually we got an Audience Choice Award for our group, and then we won awards for Best Sound Design and Best Writing.
All right.
So
Nice.
we were very happy with that.
Congratulations, you guys.
Nice year for us. We'll take it.
Good.
Now,
Good.
I find it funny that you guys get one for writing, considering you guys do a lot of ad-libbing, don't you?
Yes.
We do. We have kind of a general outline. We know what the story is and what points we have to hit, but we do give the actors a wide latitude to ad lib. So it is kind of funny. But I like to think that maybe we we have a strong enough concept that
Right.
to give that a framework for the actors to work within that it justifies it a little bit. It's just me rationalizing it.
All right.
Right. That makes sense to me because I'm on your team.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Well, congratulations, you guys.
Though we're breaking up because of the Denzel thing, though. But we'll talk about it off air.
All right. Kyle.
Well, in a world where 3-6 Mafia has an Oscar for a song, Gabe can certainly have a Best Writing Award for an ad-lib movie.
That's true.
I'd say that. Also, you can find me at my news group, Doxing for Denzel, where we take down websites that express unpopular opinions about our favorite actor. I'm the admin forum owner, and I started that website 13 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So come join us. We're going to be tearing down One Genome Short here next week. And you can find me on Facebook if you want to. That's it. I'm done.
All right. Tom.
I usually say something funny here, but this headache is just like crushing my creativity. So, Facebook, Vimeo, touchdown, field goal, safety, go us.
All right.
That's all I got, man.
Thank you, Tom. Tosh.
You can find me on Twitter. Just search for Tosh Dillinger. There's only one of me in the world, so
that's right.
That's right. You find me, you can follow me. Follow me to the promised land.
Okay, real quick for this whole Shazam Sinbad movie, you can really fall down the rabbit hole. So there's a lot of people out there that think Sinbad was in a Genie movie and it was called Shazam. And everyone's saying the release date was early 94 and it disappeared in the early 2000s. And it was played on the Disney Channel a lot. So it could be just a huge Disney conspiracy. So if you want, take a look at that.
How could it disappear completely?
Mandela. I don't know. It's called the Mandela effect.
You can go to Reddit's Mandela effect and you lose your goddamn mind.
Yes, absolutely you will. You can follow me, find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also find our films on YouTube. Just search Southsider Studios. And for this podcast, we would appreciate it if you could leave us a review on iTunes or whatever podcasting service you use. You can contact us at cinesmack@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Just search Cinesmack. And for October, we do the Truffle Shuffle and head back to the 80s as the Monster Squad takes on the Goonies. We're doing kind of a kid-friendly horror movies. If I say it in a high enough voice, does it make sense?
No, it doesn't.
All right. We got to go so Tom can go lay down. For Tom, Kyle, Gabe, Tosh, and myself, thanks for listening and go catch a flick.
We will be perfect in every aspect of the game. You drop a pass, you run a mile. You miss a blocking assignment, you run a mile. You fumble the football, and I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts. And then you will run a mile.
Hello, Cinesmacketeers, and welcome back to the podcast about films by filmmakers. I am your host, Mike Keeler. Joining me tonight is shit.
This has been a test of the Southsider Studios podcast system. This was only a test. If this were a true lack of entertainment, your head would explode. Go to iTunes and subscribe to our feed. Just search Southsider Studios.